Hi, this is Bill with Dine Drink Vegas. I'm inside Yardbird at the Venetian Hotel, and I want to take you on a quick tour. Let me start with one note. While we were waiting for our table, several people walked up. They were fully booked. Do make sure you make a reservation before you get here. If you don't, you're welcome to sit in the bar, but as you can tell, they have fairly limited seating. Walking in, there's a lounge seating area. All those people are seated for dinner. There's a lot of big communal tables. This place is easily able to handle fairly large groups. Walking back into the rest of the dining room, they have an open kitchen concept. They also have plenty of seating for smaller groups. Now, when you get here, I'd encourage you to look at the menu in advance because their cocktails in particular are fantastic. They have a nice wine list, but I'm not sure that's why you would do that. You come here for their rum and their bourbon drinks. Stay with me for just a second, and I'll show you some pictures of some of the delicious things that we've had to eat and drink.
The food at Yardbird is fantastic, but that's actually not the principal reason my friends and I always go there. The best thing about Yardbird is their drinks. Their bourbon menu is second to none. And if they're going to give you a neat pour of bourbon or of rum, they're going to present it properly. A big ice cube, an appropriate glass, whatever kind of garnish that you want in it. And if it's a cocktail like the Bananagram, it's not going to be one of these giant cocktails that you would have had at a bad fraternity or sorority party in college where somebody's in the background yelling, "Woo!" That's not what they do. They have classic drinks with excellent liquors, and they are presented very, very nicely. One of my favorite drinks they had is the watermelon sling. You've got some rosemary on it. You've got a lot of watermelon. And the great thing about it was that it wasn't too sweet. That was a really nice addition to our meals, even though for me, I am much more of a bourbon drinker, and that is most of what I had at this meal. At some point, though, if you're going to keep drinking cocktails, you will, of course, wind up having to order some appetizers or something to eat. My favorite appetizer at Yardbird, and I've probably been 4 or 5 times now, is the fried green tomato BLT. They start with a green tomato, they cut it and they fry it, then they put on some house-made pimento cheese, and then they put on some pork belly, and then they put on a little bit of a farci salad on top. The salad's honestly, it's not that much, right? This is a fried foods dish. There is a little bit of a tomato sauce underneath it, but that doesn't stop the fried green tomato from being crispy. That dish is excellent. It usually comes several to an order so that you can share it with your friends, but that was a great way to start the meal. If you're only going to go to Yardbird once, what you should probably do is start with their fried chicken. This was I think it was my 4th or 5th trip to Yardbird, and I'm ashamed to say that this was the first time I'd had the fried chicken. So I had the fried chicken, watermelon, and waffles. The watermelon was nicely spiced. That provided a really good contrast to the meal. The waffles were amazing and they were crispy. And the fried chicken was as good as I've ever had. It was crispy. It was still juicy on the inside. It was nicely seasoned. I enjoyed it immensely. But remember when I just told you that that was the first time I'd ever had it? It turns out that as good as the fried chicken is, they have something that I like even more. Specifically, the shrimp and grits at Yardbird is absolutely one of my favorite dishes in Vegas. It's not a huge dish, and that's great because sometimes when you're in Vegas, you want to have something that's not simply enormous, right? You want to have something which is a reasonable portion size. It's still plenty, though, and with the jus that they put inside of it, which is based in Pabst Blue Ribbon beer, it winds up tasting great. So I very much enjoyed the shrimp and grits, and I think that's what I'm going to go back to next time that I go. One of my buddies who was on this trip with me had it, and he enjoyed it very, very much. So would I go back to Yardbird in Las Vegas? Absolutely. I've already been back several times. The location inside the Venetian means it's right in the middle of the strip. It's easy to get to. You can walk to it from several hotels. Once you get done, you're there inside the Venetian. Do know that you need to make those reservations in advance, but I would go. I would plan on having several cocktails and having a good time. I hope that this video has been helpful to you. If it has, we'd really appreciate it if you would hit like and if you would subscribe to our channel. Thanks so much for watching Dine Drink Vegas, and happy travels.